Happy New Year, Queer Table Talkers. Welcome to Queer Table Talk Show, the first one, 2024. We made it, guys. We made it. And I welcome you all to Ekimeenza Ky'abasiyazi, Queer Table Talk, a show that... A lot of people have been waiting for Ekimeenza this week, but I welcome you all. People from across Africa, I welcome you to Queer Table Talk. And again, I say we will try our level best to keep it to a language that unites all of us, unfortunately a foreign one. But yeah, as long as we can communicate, understand each other, I think that is the purpose. Just a reminder that this show was started in March last year with the purpose of reaching out to lay Ugandans who are opposed to a sexual orientation that is different from theirs, gender identity that is different from theirs, those who believe that homosexuality is evil, is an abomination, and is a curse to our continent. It is a show that was started to debunk the lies and the propaganda that has been spread by religious evangelicals, both local and international, as well as by all those who are ignorant about the identities that some of us have. It started because as a fight back, as a way to fight back the debate that was happening in Parliament during the debating of the anti-homosexuality bill while it was still in Parliament. Unfortunately, we saw that bill being passed into an act, the anti-homosexuality law, that is actually bringing a lot of misery and suffering and even death to many Ugandans, gay and non-gay, transgender and cisgendered. All are being affected by this act. And again, to say that this is not just unique to Uganda, we have this happening in other African countries where the laws, anti-homosexuality laws, are being debated, where they are just being introduced, where many opportunists are using our identities, our sexual identity, our sexual orientation, our gender identities, and our gender expressions as a way to forward their agenda. Today we are going to be talking about this exactly through the AGOA. We're going to talk about AGOA, where Uganda has been thrown out as of 1st January 2024. We will talk about why Uganda is being thrown out, or why has it been thrown out, of what use was AGOA to the lay Ugandan. Because many people, even in the advert for this show, were saying, there are people who are saying, how was AGOA benefiting Ugandans? The question is, it goes further to say, how does AGOA benefit Africa and Africans? How does it benefit Africans? And so we're going to look at all that today, but we are going to look also at the reason why Uganda has been chucked out of AGOA, the AGOA agreement. Now, it still goes back to why we started here. It still goes back to undoing the lies that have been told, to undoing the propaganda that has been spread among our fellow Africans, that they hate us so much that they support our murdering. They support us being victims of death penalty, that they support us, their children, being in jail for life, that they support us, their children, their relatives, their parents, their neighbors, that support our killing, our murdering, our hacking, our banishment, our suffering. Because that is what needs to be undone. That when these laws come to parliaments, there are people with a brain and guts to say this is not okay. So now, invite your friends, invite more people as we listen to this one song. Please invite your friends, invite those who you feel might be able to contribute to this. Invite those who don't know. Invite the homophobes that you know to just come and listen and see our humanity, because we are humans. So I welcome you all. Chris Ouchdio, Belgium, I welcome you. Kenzo Mariza, salute. Oraho, Waswa Chris, you're welcome. Ibrahim Punong Sanyukidenyo Muganda Wange, the class monitor Catherine Nansamba, in fact, was the first one here. Welcome to Ekimeenza Ky'abasiyazi. Sarah Akabwai, I'm happy to see you. Janet Nabosa, Stella Nax, JS Nyabo, Mwena Mbasanyukide, Namwewe Tutalabako. But listen to this, invite your friends, and we will start. Take it off. Energize yourself. And then, Kurumba. You know what I mean? No Happy New Year, everyone. Abali no East Coast. Either sorry or congratulations on the snow that has fallen this weekend. There's been a winter storm, and some people feel like they're in Antarctica. Greetings to everybody on the motherland. We greet you all. We love you. and I greet you, everybody who is here. Welcome to Queer Table Talk. This is Victor Mukasa, the host of this show, Ekimeenza Ky'abasiyazi in Uganda. And if you wanna give us its name in your language, please send me a text message, and sometimes we will be announcing it as Queer Table Talk in your language, and whether it's in Uganda or Africa, rest of Africa, it will show up. So welcome to the Queer Table Talk. Now, a lot of things have happened this week. This week we've seen a new year show up. We're in 2024. Congratulations to everyone who is alive, and strength to everybody, good vibes to everybody, positive vibes for everybody. May all your New Year's 2024 resolutions come to pass. May you have the strength and wisdom to take them on. And I think one of our resolutions every year is to continue fighting for the liberation of LGBTQ citizens of the world, LGBTIQ plus Africans and Ugandans in this case, because this is why we convened here today. But it extends to everybody on the continent. The fact that our brothers and sisters and others, come here to support us, and therefore they become a part of us. The new year came in. They've been birthdays for those who have reached a new year, personal year. Happy birthday. For those who have recovered from illnesses, gratefulness to the universe for your recovery. For those who are, starting up new things, strength to you. AGOA. Today we're going to talk about AGOA as the beginning of this show, but of course the usual is coming up during this show. I'll request all those who want to contribute to the AGOA topic to also request to come in at some point so that we educate each other. Personally, I'm not an economist. I am not a trained economist. I get things the way any lay person would get them. And therefore, I'm going to share what I can understand as a lay citizen of Africa about AGOA, which is a topic that we should talk about and also see why it has happened and what it is doing to us as Ugandans and therefore as Africans. Now, AGOA, when I was young, no, not very young, because probably I was about 20 or 25 or maybe even 30. When I first heard of it, the only thing I heard about was clothes. That in Uganda is going to start manufacturing clothes. I left it at that because at some point, the events that were happening in our country, we kept away from them. We just let things happen that side as we fought for our human rights. But at the end of the day, you realize that our lives, our everything in our countries is the politics. If the politics is about us, the politics is about our lives. If we are talking economic development of any country, of any nation, we are talking about all of us, the citizens of that country. So with time, we started following some of the things that are happening in our country. And today, we have claimed our spaces in demanding for accountability in our countries. We've claimed our spaces in the political realms of our countries. We are Ugandans, we are Africans, and we have the right to ask questions. We have the right to fight for the rights of everyone. Now, AGOA happens to be in full the African what? Uncle Noah Mirembe. I am very, 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 very happy to see you. You haven't been here in a very, very long time, and I hope that today, Uncle Noah, on before Christmas, we spoke a little bit, and you assured me that you are back in the system and that we are going to start chatting. A lot of people have been asking for you here, but I wanted to play you something, but I will play it during the show. But I hope that you show up today and we talk about the issues, especially things that are happening in Uganda. You are usually very good with bringing up what has been happening in Uganda every week, and these days we miss it. Today we are talking about AGOA, why AGOA, and how does that affect all of us. So AGOA in full, AGOA in full is African Growth and Opportunity Act. And I told you I'm no economist, I'm no legal mind, but the little that I know, I'll share with you, my people, in a language that I understand and probably that you will understand. If there are any people who know more about what we are sharing today, please also you show up. So it's African Growth and Opportunity Act. And it's a legislation by the U.S. Congress. U.S. Congress, in May 2000. So this thing has been ongoing. It has been on for a very long time. It has been renewed maybe once or a couple of times, but it was started during the regime of President Clinton. And I know that President Obama also renewed it in 2015. Now, this legislation is an opportunity for countries in sub-Saharan Africa. Just countries in sub-Saharan Africa. That is its target. And the target, in simple language, is to improve our economies, to support the improvement of our economies, to support the improvement of our trade, the growth of our trade, to help sub-Saharan Africa rise to certain levels in terms of economic development. Again, so many people are saying, how does this help my mother in the village, my father in the village, my uncle in the village? Tosha Ziraba over. I am not seeing the comment. Congratulate Chosen Becky Wafe or community. Yavudde Kuluja Ssebuma. Congratulations, Chosen Becky. That's what I've been told. Yavudde Kuluja. Yeah, but it's basically for economies in sub-Saharan Africa to improve their relationships with the US, because the US is one of the largest markets in the world. So if any country is trading with the United States, they have a very big market. So this opportunity was extended to countries in sub-Saharan Africa. A certain deal was struck by these countries between them and the US government in terms of trade. And one of the things that it was going to do is to create duty-free opportunities, trade opportunities between those countries and the US. Trading with other people, but products that have been going through this agreement with the US have been exported by our countries to the US duty free. And that's a very big thing. In fact, Uganda has benefited a lot in terms of this. However, you should also realize that most of the products that AGOA has been targeting for Uganda and for the rest of sub-Saharan Africa are products that come from agriculture, which is a very, very big activity that we as Africans engage in. And Uganda, that is our top. They're taking minerals, and you know that countries like South Africa have a lot of minerals, so they're doing very big trade deals with the US. However, Uganda has been trading in gold, oil, copper, and other small minerals, as you may know them from Uganda. In agriculture, we've been doing vegetables, fruit, we've been doing the cash crops, coffee and cotton. We've been planning to improve on the cotton farming so that we can earn more out of it and get back to the 80s where cotton was a major money bringing cash crop in Uganda after cotton. Ground nuts, which they call peanuts here. And so many other things. Pineapples has been very big. Babakola simanya moringa, those who grow moringa, vanilla. These are things. This time it is not things that Museveni is doing in State House. This time it is the things that we are engaging in as lay Ugandans. It is the business that our uncles in the villages are engaged in. Our uncles are growing coffee. They are growing vanilla. Our mothers are growing cotton. They are growing pineapples. They are growing cocoa. They are growing nuts. Groundnuts. They are engaged in this stuff. This is how these families are managing to take their children to school. This is how these families are managing to survive. Growing these crops that are later bought from them by government, and later Uganda exports them to the United States. We've also been dealing in manufacturing, apparel, like clothes and stuff, through this trade deal. It has been hugely supported through USAID for Uganda to manufacture clothing, textile and apparel, and it has been exported. Many Ugandans are saying, how does this affect us? Every time there is a sanction or money has been cut off by some government, Ugandans are going to say, this money has been cut off from Museveni's pocket. No, with AGOA, this is going to affect us very, very personally. And in fact, it is already affecting so many people. But AGOA has been thrown out, and Uganda has been thrown out. Uganda is not the first to be thrown out. Countries like Ethiopia have been thrown out. Guinea has been thrown out. Cameroon was also thrown out. And I don't know which other country, about maybe 6 countries right now have been thrown out. But why? Why are these countries being thrown out of AGOA? The reason why is because when they were settling these deals, as in, there were conditions that all these countries that subscribed to AGOA, that requested to be in AGOA, there are conditions that they had to agree to. Now, for the United States and its policy, foreign policy, human rights is very key. Defense, protection, and promotion of human rights is very important. Internationally recognized human rights. It is very important. And you are likely not to go into any deal with the US if you do not agree to the respect of the human rights of every citizen of your country. So Uganda agreed to this, that we shall uphold and respect the basic human rights of all Ugandans, irrespective of where they come from, what they subscribe to, what religion, and what sexuality. We are looking at Ugandans as Ugandans. The other thing is about good governance. Mutufuga bulungi, banange mutufuze bubi. Mufuga bulungi abantu bamwe. Good governance is there accountability? Is there transparency? Do people have the freedom to participate in the making of decisions in their country? The US has been very, very, very keen on these kinds of issues. And Ugandans who are there, or those who are listening, are those not important things? Are those not good values to uphold? Isn't it important that we promote the respect of everyone? Isn't it important that our nations actually protect everyone and their property? Isn't it a good thing that our countries actually are accountable to us? Isn't it a good thing that we participate in the decisions made in our countries for us? I think those are good things. Those who are asking about AGOA, those are good things. Those are very good things. You hear a Ugandan, and there's a lot of also ignorance around these issues. You hear a lot of Ugandans saying, go away. After all, their US aid is still there. No, US aid supports countries they have an AGOA deal with. So this means we are losing that support of US aid. But I think the most important thing, that while Museveni and his Musevenists have been taking funds to their pockets for so many things, sometimes we don't know where they came from. They're either borrowed or stolen, or they're using some of our resources for themselves alone. This time, it is your groundnut farm in Masaka that is going to suffer. This time, it's the butunda, the passion fruit that you asked your mother in the village to grow that is going to be affected. This time, it's the dibaliente that your father always sells to the other rich man who sells it to the government that is going to be affected. This time, it is the many factories in Uganda that are going to close because they are affected by this. It's the fisheries that is going to be affected. It is the investors that come to Uganda that are going to stop coming, because some investors, AGOA attracts investors because they want to take advantage of the duty-free trade. So there are some people who come to trade in Uganda, investors. They come and invest in our country because they want their products to not be hugely taxed going to the US. So it is us who are going to suffer. It is us who are going to suffer. And now I've heard that some people are blaming homosexuals for this calamity. It's going to affect all of us. It is going to affect all of us. We are all affected by this. The reason why the anti-homosexuality bill was passed, that has brought some of these sanctions and closures of deals with Uganda, was propaganda, was ignorance, was greed. Many Ugandans have been lied to about homosexuals and transgender people. The reasons they used to pass the anti-homosexuality bill, those biblical reasons, the so-called cultural reasons, the so-called promotion and recruitment, are all lies. And for Ugandans, that you were told that homosexuals are sodomizing your children, those were all lies. Those are tactics used, first of all, by the US religious right to demonize homosexuality. It's propaganda. Whatever the likes of Martin Semper and is it Malay and all those evangelicals in Uganda use. That is why they say the same thing every day. Is lies. They will go to Mulago and get people suffering from colon cancer and other cancers whose intestines are unfortunately coming out. They will take pictures of that and they will come and lie to gullible Ugandans that these are homosexuals and that their intestines are coming out because of homosexuality. They will lie about the climate in Uganda being, sometimes the weather being horrible because of homosexuals. And the gullible Ugandans believe that nonsense. They will lie to Ugandans that schools are teaching homosexuality and there are buildings in Uganda where people are being taught how to be homosexuals. And since the passing of the anti-homosexuality bill, they have not showed us those schools. They have not showed us those teachers of homosexuality, those who wake up in the morning and go on the blackboard and start teaching homosexuality. They have not. There is a reason. Instead, LGBTIQ Ugandans are suffering today. Many of you who have been following on social media, especially on Twitter, you know that our activist, Stephen Kabuye, was butchered. Lucky enough, he survived. But his hand was sliced from here up to here and so many other injuries on his body. Simply because he speaks out, say on Twitter and out there, to say respect human rights. When we say respect human rights, as homosexuals, as transgender people, we are not asking that give us the permission to have sex at City Square. We are not fighting to come and have sex at the parliament. We are fighting for our right to life. People have been killed in Uganda because of that law. People have been banished from villages because they are suspected to be homosexuals. People have been fired from jobs because they are suspected. Buildings have been set on fire in the name of chasing away homosexuals, whom people have been lied about that they rape their children. As activists, we say that if there is any homosexual who is trying to sleep with people by force, of course that is not homosexuality. That is sexual harassment, sexual abuse, that is rape. It's different from sexual orientation. It's the same as a man trying or actually raping a girl. We don't support that. But we are saying let people be. What I did last night, nobody on this live show knows in my bed. And should not know. I should not even know what any of you out there did last night. It's none of my business. But how can an entire government commission itself to be the police in our bedrooms? That because they do not have the technology to peep into our bedrooms, now you start suspecting. This one looks like they had sex with a man, their fellow man last night. But Ugandans are suffering because when Uganda got into these deals with other countries, it said it will respect the human rights of everyone. Where is our right to congregate and talk about our problems? Where is our right to have a home? Why are we running left, right, and center? Why are politicians even so scared of defending us? Why are those who defend us, like women's rights activists and other human rights defenders, being targeted for saying, do not kill homosexuals? What's the joy of killing people? What is in there that is joyful? Simply because you were lied to, our fellow Ugandans, our fellow Africans. We are not saying homosexuals and gender non-conforming people are holy. If people are thieves, let them be arrested for being thieves. If people are sexually harassing others, that is against the law. And we have laws. We had laws already that target such people. So I'm welcoming all of you with this throwing out of Uganda out of AGOA and all the other sanctions that have been put on Uganda, on Ugandan MPs and other leaders that participated in the passing of the anti-homosexuality law, those who are forcing others to be examined annually, like the first annual examinations and all that. These are punishable according to the relationships that Uganda cannot live in isolation. But Ugandans have been saying this only benefits Museveni. No, with AGOA, we are affected, all of us. All those things will be affected at some point. We are not going to afford fertilizers anymore. We are not going to afford seeds anymore. We are not, and Uganda says, no, we will trade with others. Those we think that we are going to trade with already have their partners. It's not going to come easy that today we are out of AGOA, now we are going to trade with China immediately. No, that's not how it works. We have a business in Nachivubu. You don't just channel like that. You have to lobby big time. And I think Uganda needs to check itself. The Ugandan government needs to check itself and stop being greedy and would its citizens and go back to your partners, respect human rights, and let Uganda thrive. So many Ugandans who are shouting about homosexuals have never met even one homosexual. They've never met even one homosexual. Except now today on social media when some of us will come out and talk openly about the plight of homosexuals. Steve Kabuye, wherever you are, I send you strength, and all those who have been affected by homophobia and transphobia in Uganda by this act, because I think that HIRAF is always sending out reports every month of violations, of all the violence and attacks on LGBTI individuals. Now, some of them are not as prominent activists as Stephen Kabuye. They are people who have been injured badly. Some people have been killed, and we do not know because they are not the people who speak out every day. But this is not unique to Uganda. This is across Africa. And 2024, let us undo the lies that have been told to our fellow Africans about us. Let us all get a moment every week to unlie, to undo the lie. Because those are the lies that were used in Parliament. We all saw it, to pass a law that is leading to the death of many, that is affecting so many Ugandans, not only homosexuals. Already business is affected in so many ways. Landlords are suffering also with their issues. They have these very, very good tenants who they are troubled to even evict simply because they are gay or suspected to be gay. Landlords are going through it. Some doctors are failing to do their job of treating human beings simply because some of their clients are LGBT, and they're afraid that if they treat them, they will be taken to jail. What is becoming of Uganda? Very soon, political activists, when they are fighting for their, when the campaign season has arrived, and when people are trying to fight for votes and voters, they are going to start using homosexuality as a tool to put down the others. So you remain silent today. Tomorrow they are coming for you. Whether you're in Uganda, whether you're in Malawi, in Ghana, in Nigeria, you remain silent today. These anti-homosexuality laws are coming for you. So anyway, let me have more people to come and we talk about these things. The issue was on AGOA, but it brings us to the lies that have been told about homosexuals that has led to increased abuse of human rights of LGBTIQ Ugandans and other Ugandans. And that is leading to countries that respect human rights cutting ties with Uganda because of human rights abuses, leading to the suffering of all Ugandans. So chitukwatako fenna. Banange chitukwatako fenna. Inviting you guys. Let's unpack more about AGOA. We are very happy to see you, Uncle Noah.
Wow.
Your volume is a little low for me. I don't know if you hear me very well.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Should I speak louder? What would help?
Class monitor, do you hear us very well?
Please
greet class monitor Catherine Nansa.
Catherine Nansa,
she is back to class monitor 2024. Thank
you so much for joining us, Carmen. It's great to see you here. Ssebuma,
bro, some of the topics we bring here because a lot of our people do not understand our language. Then we will tune into Obutaka.
Okay. What I've had, we talked a lot today. Thank you so much for that summary, of not even summary, that detailed insight on AGOA, what AGOA is, what AGOA means in terms of economic outlook, and then opportunities for people. To enlighten us and to help us understand why it's important that we share that news, but also why it matters for Ugandans, what's happening with those different sanctions and things like that. Actually, I think the highlight for this week, and I'm glad that you shared that news, is just sending love and standing in solidarity with Stephen Kabuye this week, who was a victim was victimized by such unfortunate and disturbing developments with the stabbing. And so we sympathize with Stephen this week. We're praying for you and your very quick recovery. We're thankful for all the people who have interceded and supported. They've been legal, they've been healthcare. And then his people I think it's called Color I don't know the full
Colored
name, but I think
Voices.
Colored Voices. So sending solidarity to Colored Voices as well. And for those who are able to reach out and check in, please do. And if you're able to send support, I think Stephen has put up some links as well. If you're able to put some financial support, that would help. But I think it just shows that the urgency we've been talking about, it's a matter of life or death. And not everybody is a prominent activist, so you won't hear about all the people who have faced these issues.
Right.
So there are many people who have been beaten, there are many people who have been arrested, there are many people who have, I won't say many who have been killed, but some who have lost their lives in questionable circumstances, and they've not really received justice yet. And so we are standing in solidarity with Stephen this week.
Somebody's calling you. Bro, we've lost. I think you sound muted. Catherine, tubulire ani avuddeko, but I don't hear you at all. I don't hear you at all. Ojiro tereza that chumo. Ba okolenga tuli bwe wavuddeko n'okomawo. Wavuddeko n'okomawo. Class monitor tumukozesezza nnyo bwe baba basobola omugulirayo akatunda this week akanamuyamba okugogola amaanyi ge gakozesa okututereeza wano. Please also buy the katunda. Get in touch with Catherine Nasa, my class monitor. Yes, Mama Toronto.
Wanji?
What is Wanji?
Yes.
Yes, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
We are very well, thank you. Happy New Year, Mama
America?
Toronto.
How's the West?
US is good. We're not saying Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too.
How is Toronto? Is it snowing there?
Yeah, it's very snowing, and
That's good.
yeah,
That's good.
I was missing snow. Yeah. Now I know even the door there is snow.
Let us bring back Uncle Noah so
Okay.
that Uncle Noah finishes. They had a submission. They had a submission. Mama Toronto had come here so that we could be chatting, but we really wanted to hear what you have to say about the effects of the anti-homosexuality law.
Hi, Mama Toronto.
How are you?
We're here. It's snowing here, but maybe not as good as it is in Toronto.
Hey, we have snow, and I want to go inside and from Mirembe.
Yes, please do. Please go. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Nkende bweru nange kubiyola waliwo abadde angamba ngende muyambeko okuyola naye netuyola, so it was so much fun to go and touch it and get so wet and cold, so that was sweet and playful.
Okay,
Yeah.
let us go back to AGOA friends.
Okay.
I
Let
have
me
a few
listen.
friends who just came for that topic and they will be going, so let us help them to make use of this time. Burundi. You were talking about Stephen Kabuye, and as that being one of the...
Yeah, I mean, it's people. A lot of people keep saying that, keep suggesting that there's a level of over alarm as far as this situation is concerned. But I think that the developments this week have shown us that there's very, very much reason. Not just this week, because I think every month HURAF has been releasing, Human Rights Awareness and Promotion Forum has been releasing their reports. There's a security team that has also been releasing their reports. So we know that these incidents have been happening. But I think in terms of like social media putting a name to a face, usually those are anonymous. That's what we call you think. But this time having a name to the face, somebody that we've been seeing every day on social media sharing his life and see what has happened. That brings us to the conversation about sanctions. Like, should the world still be paying attention to what's happening in Uganda? Why should the world still be caring?
Yeah.
When we can see what's happening in the Middle East, we can see what's happening in Sudan, we can see what's happening. There's a lot happening in the world, and so the question is, should we really be, is this the thing that should be, on the top of the world's agenda? And I think the answer this week is a resounding yes. We still very, very much collaboration and support from not just from Ugandans, but from people from across the region, from African solidarity. All those are incredibly helpful for us to be able to rally support, but also to create awareness. Because when you look at, actually, one of the things that happened this week was, as that incident happened, you'd see that some of the pastors were claiming, because a parallel incident was that there was a pastor who was also publicly attacked. So it's a situation in which basically safety and security is a big deal. And so there's been a question of, why should we be paying attention? Why is this a special incident? Should we be really caring for this small group of people? And I think the answer is a resounding yes. Global solidarity is still making a huge, huge difference in us being able to organize, in people being able to receive support. And so just calling on people to still pay attention to what's happening, and that for Ugandans in particular, and this part will go to Ugandans, a lot of Ugandans are talking about with everything that's happening, it's not just queer people facing the security threats, the economic situation is tough for everyone. I think the urgency that we're facing as Ugandans is to reprioritize with our government. Things like security that we've been promised are not guaranteed to everyone. And I think right now it's clear that the situation where many Ugandans are living in is not working for them. And so to call for more open minds, more open discussions, but also for this law to be repealed, quite frankly. I think one of the things you've mentioned is that in the last months with this law having been in existence, we actually haven't seen any of the evidence that they suggested about schools recruiting, about the different incidents that they reported. And so I think it's time to revisit why the law was passed and to see if that can be repealed. And I think that's something that more and more Ugandans, I hope, are starting to see is necessary.
Thank you, Noah. Now that you've talked about the law being repealed, we also had the first, we'll call it hearing or whatever, as a legal person, you'll explain to us, of the petitions against the law at the end of last year. Do you mind giving us an update on what is happening in that regard?
I am not quite up to date, I'll be honest, because I've not been paying attention to the news in the last month. So I will not lie and say I know what exactly is happening in terms of the legal front. But in terms of some of the developments that I'm aware of, is really the anticipation of the judgment. Because you remember the last conversation we had before the hearing, Victor, we had suggested that there might be a chance to have a series of hearings. So first part presenting their side, the other side doing the response and all of that. But the court eventually decided that they wanted to decide most of this really on the pleadings. And so the hearing itself was quite brief. I think it was not more than maybe 3 hours, I believe. Counsel Pio, if you look at his social media, he did share some of the timelines and the updates on what had happened in court. So if you want specific updates from what happened on 18th, I think it was 18th, that's 13th, that's information you can get directly from Counsel Pio. Has shared that on his social media. But in terms of what's next is the judgment. Is trying to hear what the court will say from what the evidence that they've had. I will say that, I think it would have been great to be heard in terms of, and I know that hearing is not just like speaking and being heard, but really a chance to elaborate for the judges the different points of contention. But I also understand the court's desire not to turn the legal process into a circus, into a drama, where there's all sorts of arguments being made for all sorts of reasons. Right. And so very much respect the court's decision to take that approach that it has. And we'll wait and hear what they say. I think the big news now for most people is just waiting for the judgment and what that means. And that's essentially, does the court agree with us and say that the law is not justified and therefore that the law should be thrown out, or the court says there might be provisions that maybe don't sit with the law, but maybe that the law can be saved if those provisions are removed, or generally that the court might say, the law was passed in accordance with quorum and all of it, and that they see no problem with it, and that they might let it stand. Either way, I think I don't want to comment on the outcome because we genuinely don't know what the outcome of that process is going to be. But I think for us as activists, is the reminder, Victor, we've been talking about this since the start, is that the fight is not starting and stopping with the law. Right. Whether the law is removed, and we hope that it is, but even if the law is removed, the kind of violations that have been reported on, we've said this over and over again, those violations have existed for a long time. Things like evictions, things like the violence has been persistent for a decade plus, right? And so we are very, very much calling on the law to be repealed because that's an additional barrier to people accessing justice. But the reality is that even if it is repealed, there is still a lot of work to be done to address the violence and the needs, not just violence, but even needs, empowering community.
Our communities.
So that's really the big point. I think judgment is great. Let's look forward to it. Let's look forward to what the court will say. Let's look forward to being heard and being affirmed by the courts because we deserve that dignity. But let's also not put all our hope in what a judgment can deliver because the work of changing hearts and minds and building our community will continue regardless of what happens in that
regardless
courtroom.
of what happens. That's right. Yeah. Thank you so much. So it means that we still have a lot of work to do beyond just the legal approach. Mama Toronto.
mpuliriza mukulu kanso jjukira omukulu bw'aba ayogera gw'omutoto ddamu osirika busirisi.
Council asiriseemuko katono. Do you have any questions for the council?
I have a question.
And if anyone has questions for Noah or anybody else, please leave them in the comment section. We'll see them.
Council, I have a question. If the judge or the court says they take a long time to say anything, what is happening to Uganda, what is happening to LGBT person in Uganda?
That's a very good question.
Because there is another thing came. The judge take a long time ago. They take a long time to come out to say this and this and this because of I want to take that thing court to hold Just if there's another thing came, the judgment not came on the time, they take a long time or 3 months or 1 month. It can take 1 year. What is the Ugandan people can do for that?
I mean,
Because
that's a
because now the people the LGBT is starting get attacked, killing, Yeah.
I mean, that's a very dire reality. Unfortunately, is that the court may take time for one reason or another. I think the thing is that any law that has been passed by Parliament and not been repealed, it remains a valid law. And so, for as long as there's been no pronouncement on the law, then it remains a valid to be enforced. What that means is exactly what Anita has described, that people will still continue to face violations at the hand of the state. The kind of reports that we've been seeing are still going to persist. And so there is a level of urgency that we are hoping, because this is something, human rights matters tend to have a certain level of urgency. Not automatically, of course, but depending on circumstances. I think this one has a deep level of interest, so I hope that they'll hear it. But if they don't, then if the law hasn't been repealed, then it's still valid. So it just continues and continues and continues. And so the advocacy that we have to make, Victor, I think has to be about the safety and security in them. Anita, that's what can the community do? Safety and security right now is still paramount. And I think it's still paramount even if we win the case, especially because I think we should also prepare for possibility of backlash. If we win a case and people still feel like, these people, they've even won the case, there's still a possibility of backlash. It's not expected, but it's possible. And so just to be ready even for that, I think safety and security is a big question right now, at least for the next 6 to 8 months. It's still a big priority.
Right.
Yeah.
Miss Stu, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm sorry to come. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm late, but I would like to ask some questions.
Yeah, please.
Go ahead, Miss Stu.
Council, excuse me, Council. Are you in Uganda?
Aha.
No, I don't. I don't want to cause insecurity on you. Okay, I'm sorry to ask that. But if you know that you are dealing with LGBT in Uganda, it is better to think about those people, what they go through. You know, some organization there in Uganda, they are using this anti-gay bill also to make income from queer people. You know, queer people in Africa, we are like business. And you people who pretend that you are defending queers, you make them to be a capital on your side. Yet you can't raise their issues very well. And some people who act to be that they are defending queers in Africa are the one who supporting everything that comes to us. Sometimes I can't blame the government of Uganda because the government of Uganda also knows queer people are there. But people who are doing everything are those people who are in us.
Yeah.
Those people, they pretend that they are fighting for queer people, yet they want to get money. But you people, why can't you get that art? And you think of other people's, what they go through. To be a gay or to be a trans woman like me, it means a lot because that is me and that is myself, because no one will change me. But you people in Africa, you take every opportunity as the income source where you can earn money, and you pretend that you are fighting for queers, yet you have other things. You pass through behind us.
Go ahead.
And the most people who are torturing us are those who pretend that they are fighting for queers. Because for you have children, you have their families, but once you come to us, you pretend that you have that blood. And those people who are there to know the truth about our feelings, you put them down. In Africa, we have people who understands us, who knows what we go through, and they are good educated to fight for our rights. But because of those guys, for them, they know they get income from us. They make sure that once they meet those people, they stop
Another thing you don't remember, in Uganda there's another organization, small organizations come out, they start use that organization, small organization to get insecurities, to get money from white people. But and sometimes you get someone will get a real tax, and the organization talk to the abroad to get money, and if they get that money, it cannot use to that exactly point, And to me, I was if the organization there in Uganda meet my side, what is I want to decide to discuss about it. If the organization in Uganda if there's some people get attacked or arrested or any activities, inside to provide that person or to get the grant to take that people in Uganda to another country safety. Because I know many people in Uganda was
Excuse me,
attacked
Anita.
like this.
Excuse me, Anita. Let me first address my points because I have a pain inside me. I thank a lot of organizations in Uganda. First of all, let me thank Hiraf. Hiraf is doing every best to see that he always stands with us. But even Hiraf, as that organization that stands with us, is it an organization? Is it a CBO? I don't know. If it is a human rights defender, I don't know. And we appreciate Hiraf and I appreciate other human rights defenders there in Uganda, which I don't know, Smith, what and what. There are so many in Uganda. But you people, if you go in the community, people, they have a big pain they go through from you. Those people, they pretend that they're fighting for us. But for them, they have other issues they want to put through. And I remember that day we went. But even I don't want to remember that story, but I have to tell that story, the one which I went through. But I wonder, the police came. It is the police who said that you people, you are the one who making this, you are the one who causing insecurities, and you are the one who come to us, and you are the one who giving the details that this and this is going to take place, and this is going to happen, and you want us to come so that we can arrest you, and you want to get money. You want, and even I was surprised to hear that the police officer saying the truth. A police officer to come to say the fact to ask the victim they have arrested and they tell the truth that your fellow queers are the one who care. They gave us all the details about how the thing is going to be. And I remember that the time we went out, we had an organization where they took us to be as a safe place. But there is a person who came, and that person, let me mention his name. That person is called Sean. Sean came to us, started to give us some of the story why these things happen in Uganda. That in Uganda everything has to happen because they have to see many cases against queer people, so that you people. I imagine Sean was not.
Mr. Ensongazo, you have very, 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 very important points, and it's great that you can actually raise them here. Tugenda kwongera ozongerako ku show eno. But mukusookera ddala mbadde, I was asking you to also talk about the actual homophobia that is happening in the country. Is there homophobia in Uganda that has increased because of the anti-homosexuality law or not? Because yes, we've heard about some fake incidents, but we've also heard about actual incidents like that happened to Stephen Kabuye.
Victor, let me tell you this point. Homophobia is there. I can't say that homophobia is not there, but sometimes if you take a look and you start to follow those homophobia attack, some of those things, they come inside our communities. This community
like
of ours.
There are people in the community who actually set them up.
Yeah, because the reason why I'm saying this, if I was not in Uganda, or if I was not in this community, I should have said no. But this community, even if you go everywhere, the problem with us, even those people who pretend that they are fighting for us, are the one who also creating those homophobic things. A person knows that shelter it is a safe house, and you go behind your fellow community people, and you set a right. Imagine, Victor, that we have our.
That is unfortunate. I can tell you that.
That's why sometimes I normally hate this community, because this community has given us a lot of trauma, and most people who are giving us trauma are those people who pretend that they are in our community. Once they know that queer community, there is a lot of money they get. They use all those challenges, or they use all the corners to see that they create all those homophobic things. Nowadays, this is a new generation. People are well educated, and people are new that queer people we are here, and people they know that queer people are there. No one can come from nowhere to start beating you because you are this and this. You have no any written word that you are MCs or you are a queer person. You are just walking on your way. But because of these people the people, the one we share the same community, are the one who also meet those straight people, and they start to say, that is Amsiyazi, that is again.
Me too, you know, there's another thing here, I know, for that big organizations, if they get, if there's some case came into the community.
I just want to ask a question. AGOA kiri tukivuddeko tusobole okuwa abantu omukisa okwogera mu lulimi nga ddala beemalayo.
No, the AGOA
tukiveeko kiri AGOA.
No, AGOA wekiri.
AGOA makatikaniza kati mu Luganda olutuufu ati ngwena okulwana n'oluzungu.
Ko tukakane abakimye AGOA bakitegeere nti ekyo kiwedde kubanga abakimye AGOA abamu si bannayuganda kikyo lwaki tuli mu luzungu naye ate oluzungu lulekayo ebintu ebimu bye twagala okwogera.
Tuza mu Luganda teekawo n'akantu akanyonyera ebintu ebimu mu luzungu kubanga nze
Hold on. Is there anybody who wants to add on the earlier conversations about AGOA, what AGOA is and why the expulsion and what it is going to do to Uganda, or the issues that Uncle Noah was talking about, so that we move on to this next thing? And the hearsay that some people are planning to set up a committee will intend to attack LGBT in Uganda. Because now this is somebody from Malawi. Please confirm as this is inciting violence, which is a preempted crime towards LGBT. Solam, are you able to come online? Anita?
Victor, let me ask you this question. Me, I have a question to ask you.
Yeah.
You know, people they are saying that in Uganda they said that they bought that anti-sexual bill. Now, I wonder, people are there. People they come from abroad. On again, on surgery wound. Wound booms are Uganda. Now, have you ever had any homophobic attack or any government saying that you arrest that person? You know those people. Let me say this, AGOA, or you know the truth, and you know the truth. You people who pretend to be human rights defenders, you know the truth, and you know what is happening in our community, and you know what the reason why you people you bring that anti-homosexual every year, every month, every day, because you know you get a lot of money from it.
I think sometimes the things are important.
Let me tell you, Victor, I said the truth. We always went to that bar. Even me, myself, I was in that bar. The police used to pass through that car bar. Now, when you're down the police, even if those people were outside, the queer people when they were outside the bar, no one was being arrested. But once the day that bar was arrested, even those queer people who planned it because they wanted to get money. We suffered to get those people from prison. You know, even those human rights defenders, once they see that they're in bad situation of poverty, they create those insecurities because they want to get money. You know, they know we are people in a business. You know the problem that those human rights defenders, they know we are people in a business. Even these people who pretend to have also organization, they know more connected to those human rights defenders, and they make sure that they create a right. Let me tell you, every right happen in Uganda. It has each and every plan. That's how they created it.
Why do you make
people to be separated from their families because you people you want money? Is that you people make those insecurities and you make people to lose their families because for you people you want money? Don't think about those people. Once they get money, they don't give also to those people or to move on with their life. They just get money. They just do their stuff. Once they lose everything, that's still they plan another right. Every right happen in Uganda. It has its way.
Every attack.
They plan it.
That's why
business. I'm posting on social media. All international whites they are going to come out. They say what. You people, you are very. But those people, because you are done who creating those homophobic rights.
Victor.
Anita.
Victor Mukasa because this is another day Uganda bichimunchimanyi.
Uganda ate yatwagala oyogere naye waako ne Anita omukisa naye ayogere ko naawe erodde mu oyogere.
Victor,
My sister, you stop.
Victor, that thing, the happening, you know,
Yogera
me I get
ng'otabulamu ekikwanguyira n'ekijja tolala emisitwa abadde Luganda Luzungu.
nze kintu ekisinga okunuma abo abantu abayita ba human rights bakola omukolo bakola pride ekansanga awo ku Venom, you know, ne batuyoola ffenna bateeka mu mawulire naye nga bo bamaze okufuna omudidi gwabwe
Nga be baayita poliisi.
yes era bali bamanyi ssaawa zejjirako, you know, kati
Muted naye. Senga happy.
nemwe mwamute.
Miss Two is muted.
Oh.
No, I'm okay. I'm the one who muted myself because I was discussing with my girls. You know me,
Okay,
hello, darling.
All right.
Hey, girl.
Wanti ndabyo oyogeranga ndowooza oyogera naffe. Kati malayo Anita.
Kati, that people they causing insecurities to community to get money from abroad.
Mbadde nsaba ne Senga happy ajje.
If it's not true, me I have my mind. Let me community to
Senga happy yatusobola bwe bituuka wano Senga happy yatusobola.
Victor kanveko senga muyite wano.
Naye togenda wano.
Undi wano kuwulira ku live era kwendi wano opitanga nange kwendi naye senga jangu.
Victor. Kino ekintu kina banene bekifu abakifunamu bongabbo. Okitegeera. Nze kyengamba senga tewaliwo banene bakifunamu. Tuli batini nnyo mu community, you know. Naye abawala balina ebitongole binene bayisaawo famire zaabwe ne zijja abroad.
Nga baba tebalina kye batukolera.
Bayina naye basussa nnyo bakisussa. Okitegeera bakisussa bongabbo. You know. Nze kubanga bine byapiniza Uganda ebisinga nga biri setedi twalinga kulamu ng'ekyakulibwa oyo omukyala Sala.
Abamanyi galike.
Wakisigogera Sala nga tuli safe mwalamu nga polisi ene tukule tukuma babweru awo, you know. Nga nabako omusango polisi etwaka ka office ne kugalira amacha ne kutanga tamuna kye kukyajinze. Ne kasa twayingirwamu abasiyazi abalwalinga lamu. Polisi ngejja buli week ne bayo ne batulaka mu komera.
Senga happy accept.
You know.
Brenda waswagenda kuyita
mu community ebitutuusaako, you know. Kyekimana ne kiri Nairobi era kyekiri Uganda. Buli wa
Nairobi kyekiri Uganda.
Yes. Ate keke Nairobi basoke bakikozingawo.
Kati Victor kakubulira
ayogerako basiyazi.
Yeah.
Victor batwala mu komera ne wajjawo ekibiina ekyajja ku komera awo n'ekisale ky'abasirikale kibagamba kibawe ssente ebintu batibabiggola we naasoma naye hirafu we yajja n'ebiyimirira mu hirafu n'egamba ebyabwe biggwera mu kooti nga kyegamba nga kyebaagala batushalinga abaana b'abendi babatwale mu komera babasibe bali bazze. Anita leka mmanyi kino omanyi nina obusungu bungi mu community eno. Mana ekiro kyannuma ne kinyiiza.
Gali amazima gali nti.
Victor.
Ebibiina bye mwogerako era bye bibiina bye bitulwanirira.
Nanti ate bya bimu bya bitulawira ebituwa trauma. Imagine batukutte.
Obuzibu ebibiina ebyo bye butuwadde.
Victor soko owulire batukwata. N'ojjawo ekibiina. Nakigamba bane twali abasirikale ne twagala nabo ne twagala tubawe ssente mwenna babaterano byo mwagende naye hirafu nejja negamba ffe byaffe biggwera mu kooti nga kyebaagala abaana b'abantu bagende ekitalya.
Kakati Miss Two.
Kinnuma lwaki bannamutulumya lwaki mutuwa trauma lwaki mutuleetera okubeera nga tuli balwadde lwaki mutuleetera okwekyawa nga musaba siyazi.
Live yiyo era ogenda kwogera kupaka lw'onookowa kwendi kupaka saawa 10 ezaawa n'ez'olweggulo naye olekako ne banno ne boogera. Nze kyembadde njagala okubuuza Miss Two ne Anita. Baatemye omwana ennaku nga 3 emabega e Uganda mwamuwulidde?
Namulabye mu group n'ampositiza.
Wamulabye. E Uganda waliyo okuva etteeka lwe yayita abantu bangi bava e Uganda badduka bagenda e Kenya basiraanidde eyo. Mukimanyiiko?
Tukimanyira bangi bakyavayo Uganda baagala kujja Kenya.
Soyo yekka gwe batemye abalala bangi abamu babasazeeko n'obusolo olw'etteeka. Era nga mu kkooti olwaleero tuyinayo abawakanya etteeka eryo nti lisazibwemu wadde siri erigenda otuwonya buli kimu senga liba lisaliddwamu nga Council Noah bw'agambye. Abakola ku misango egyo gyonna n'emisango gye batuwa egiyisa mu 30 buli mwezi bye bibiina byennyini bye mwogerako kati. Amazima gennyini teriiyo maka galimu baana omutali babayita batya omutali bantu abeeyisa mu ngeri endala ennyo. Tuyinza okuba nga tuyinamu abantu abeeyisa mu ngeri enkyamu naye si be batusinga obungi. Kyekisooka. Ekyokubiri abantu abasinga abatulugunyiziddwa olw'okuba abasiyazi oba basuubirwa okuba abasiyazi basiyazi si be batulugunyiza abannakyalo be babatulugunyizza poliisi ne gavumenti yaffe okutwalira awamu mbadde saagala tuleke kintu ekyo nti mazima
nze Victor ekintu kye ŋŋamba kiri bwe kiti ekintu ekisinga okunnuma bwe kibanga nga banja batulugunyizidde Uganda olw'ebisiyaga nga bya ddala waliwo abakulu ebibiina baleetedde abano okufuna insecurities eza ddala naye nze singa bino ebitongole ebivaayo okuyamba abasiyazi e Uganda timmanyi waliwo obusobozi ezibajja ssente ezikola ki ezijjayo abaana abo okitegeera sijja kumenya kitongole kyalinnya naye waliwo ekitongole ekyajja e Uganda nga kizze kujjayo abaana babaali 30 oba 20 nga kyagaba direct Bulaaya okitegeera naye ekitongole kimu ekyabajjayo nekifuna ssente nekikukuza nekibusabusa ebintu nekibikola bitya nebibuliraawo kitegeera bwe baba nga bali beerufu basabe grants mu Bulaaya nti bannange toya grants za ssente bwe ziti mutuwe ne faasi
Anita, oba mulisabe eyo ssente eze Bulaaya musobole okuyamba abaana.
Ama Victor, singa ezo community ezo batuyita baffe abalina ebitongole ebinene mu Uganda balifunye grants ne basaba n'amawanga yavudde ssente ezo nti abaana bafuna obuzibu mbawe visa nga ziri free kubanga mulimu abaana babonyebonyedde ebbanga ng'olina byafuna n'obulemu ekyasobola kutambula omukono baba bagutemako eriiso baalijjamu ng'ali Uganda naye nga just ebitongole bafunafunye ssente namujjanja bani bamulekaawo end of the day naddamu n'afuna obuzibu bwabwe mukitegeera
bafuna ssente ezo nga baba bazifunye kufulumya abantu mu Uganda
abasinga bona kyebakola bakuteeka mu hoteri bamuyeza 2 ne bakujjamu nakuwa okakadekamu kamu 2 n'oteekako ey'obulano agageno nonye ogyobeera ewalala okitegeera
hafi munnange nkuyita naye tojja
kati ekirala ekiriwo kati esaawa zino ekiriwo kati ekiri Uganda esaawa zino ekiri Uganda esaawa zino etteeka we liri abaana bafuna obuzibu kati ate abaana tebakyasobola kuva Uganda bajje oba Kenya oba luddawa okitegeera
Anita ekintu kye mwogerako ne Miss2 kibaddewo okumala emyaka mingi nnyo era abantu boogeredde ebibiina njogera nti nno waliyo ebibiina ebikozesezza ssente obubi naye ate ebintu ebyogerwa kwegamba omuntu apamako ku kkubo omulundi gumu buli lwe basanga bbi owantu bagamba ye yamupamawo ate kati lwaki ovuddeko Miss2 buli lwe basanga bbi owantu bagamba ye yamupamawo waliwo ebintu ebyogerwa olwaleero nga tetutegedde obuzibu ebibiina bye biri mu kuyitamu okitegedde n'ennamba y'abantu gye balina okukwatako okitegeera kati omwana baamutemyetemye ejjo baamuyambye naye okimanyi nti ebibiina ebyo kumuyamba ate nga byabadde bimufaako nnyo kaabadde katono nnyo ke kaamuyambye abantu abalala ebweru be baayambye
anti kyenkugamba nti kati bwebanga ekibiina ekyo nga kituufu bitulwanirira byagala tubeere seefu
ensooso bagamba lwaki mwabagamba nti nno ebibiina biridde ssente Hasifa gundi yeegaanye oba osooka ogiddeko ogizzeeko lwaki temukolawo ebitongole ebinaakola omulimu ogwo gwe mugamba ogulina okukolebwa
abamu Victor ffe tetulina maanyi ago
amaanyi mugalina teri atagalina ffe we twatandikira movement eyo nga tetulina busobozi bwonna wadde n'akatono n'ekirala muyige okuwandiika amabaluwa amatongole mugaweereze ebibiina ebyo nga mubigamba bannange mulidde ssente zaffe bwe ziti ezaabaweebwa gundi bwati nga zirina kutwala abaana bweru nze kyemmanyi teriyo kibiina kiri mu kugaba ssente nti ezo ssente tuziba wadde mufulumye abasiyazi ebweru abasiyazi bonna abali e Kenya kwali kwebeereramu ne badduka mu Uganda nze okubeera wano mu Amerika kwali kwebeereramu waliwo ekibiina kyansasulira ssente zijja mu Amerika
naye Victor kimanyi saawa zino ogenda ku kitongole Uganda n'okigamba mperi commandation bwe ziti nsobola okugenda okuva wano ne bagikumma awo ne bagamba twaga mitwalo 10 amu twaga mitwalo 5
naye nze ndowooza nti eno yessaawa muwandiikire ebibiina ebyo mukopingeko n'ebibiina ebirala okulaga nti nno bannange tumanyi nti mwafunye ssente zaffe bwe ziti naye nze kyemmanyi mu kwetegereza ensonga zino ebibiina Uganda biri mu kukola era ebibiina Uganda kati essaawa ya leero ebisinga tebirina na ssente ezo ze mwogerako
no kati birina naye ssente zajja Victor ssente zajja notoka n'okweroga bannabibiina bina nga beeroga gwefuna funding munoga
mulimu n'okuloga kati hafi banange simanyi kivuddewo naye keepinga nga ojjako bwozzaako I am sure at some point kati it says it's adding happy even a Miss2 you're coming back
nze Victor nze ku byonna byonna Uganda binalaba Uganda
I really
bingi
want everybody to get an opportunity to say something
banga
here.
ndona kule
Naye
bakwata mu
mbadde
venom.
saagala tujjewo fact nti homophobia yeeyongedde e Uganda
Yes.
era abantu bali mu kutemulwa abantu abatali basiyazi olwaleero.
Babatemula fine weekyo kibatemula bajja bakyatemulwa nnyo. Naye ebibiina bikoze bityo okuyamba abo abatemuddwa okubeera nga bali safe. Just kyekibuuzo twagala ansa y'ekyo.
Emirimu gyaffe ffenna tulina okwenyigira mu mirimu kati nze nkola Ekimeenza teri asasula Kimeenza teri ansasulira
kubanga waliwo street alaba
teri asasulira ssaawa zange ze ntuula wano naye ntuula wano okulaba nti nno twebangula twekwatako tujoyininga ne twekwata ku mukono ne tusobola okuyamba ono n'ono ku lwaffe ng'abantu
waliwo
nze ndowooza tulekerawo
Uganda
okutuulira ebibiina.
waliwo street ali Uganda alaba nga batemye oyo omwana Steve n'agamba ng'alina munnaali Bulaaya n'amugamba kati kozesa keesi ya Steve ojje e Kenya bakuyamba ogende e Bulaaya.
Anita olaba Museveni bw'alya ssente kyemuliko essaawa eno buli munnayuganda agaana okugula emmere ewaka mbu kubanga Museveni alina ssente ze. Buli munnayuganda agaana okugula emmere eka agaana okutwala abaana be ku ssomero olw'okuba Museveni alina ssente ze mu kifo ky'okwebeereramu. Kabiba bibiina by'abakyala era owulira abakyala nti abakyala balidde ssente zaabwe n'owulira ebya bannamagoye nti baboosi balidde ssente zaabwe. Naye tunaakoma ddi okubeera awo ne tugamba tulina okwebeereramu ng'abantu tulekera okulowooleza mu ssente tetulowooza ezazze ate nga emirundi mingi ziba n'okujja tezaatuuseeyo.
Nze amanzi naye balya ssente zaabwe bazirye naye nze
kyenjagala bw'abaawo abafuna ssente nti zakujja abantu Uganda tebasaana kuzirya naye nze sikiwa nti ekyo kituufu nti waliyo ebibiina ebiri mu kuyiwa ssente Uganda mufulumye bannayuganda. Muli kumpi gamba nti baatumyeyo n'ennyonyi bannayuganda naye
mu 2019 wala abaana bali ku lisiti abajja e Bulaaya ebitongole bya ssente zaabwe
mu 2019 nga bakimbiizi oba nga bali e Uganda
bafunye buzibu Uganda
kitongole kye kyaweereza ssente
sasa kyogera wano
ayogera ekitongole kyaweereza ssente kuba kyo tekirina buzibu.
Victor I can't kyonna kigamba nga ni inbox yo nesobola
ojja kukimbuulira ombuulire n'ebitongole ebyazifuna ssente ezo. Hafi ngenda komyawo Mistu kubanga egundi yo egaanye. Ate era kinnomye nnyo okulaba nti nno egundi yo egaanye kubanga fenga tuba tukwetaaga mu nsonga bwe ziti. Ensonga
era amateeka gakyayita agakwata ku bisiyaga bakyagayisa bakyagakomya okitegeera naye kinyigiriza busiyazi
nsankomyewo
Anita omaze
Mistu bwajja asooka ne muwa time kubanga yo gatasirika
yajja kwogera naye era ajja kusirika n'abalala boogere.
Kati mbadde n'ekintu kye njagala okwogerako Victor Mukasa ogambye nti nno bino ebintu byakwebereramu ate Victor Mukasa tojja kunenya baana kubanga tujja
Hafi osobolera okusindika kuba twetaaga abantu basatu.
Victor Mukasa tojja kunenya baana kubanga abamu bajja mu community ng'amanyi tino community gye bazzeemu ntuufu ya mazima nze najja mu basiyazi obba gyoyiningamu nga ndowooza ntuuse mu famire entuufu ate bino bojja mu famire ng'oli mupya oba tomanyi nnyo bintu oba tomanyi nnyo bukodyo oba tonnaba kumanya mitego gyabwe kiri
eno famire eyigiriza bukodyo ki
ati nkujjira Victor omanyi lwaki abasiyazi abasinga bali e Uganda naye nga bali closed nga tebagala kujja nga tebagala kuvaayo babeere opening nga ffe tuvaayo because abamu batya community eno nti community si nyangu kati nze olunaku lwe nasookebwa okujja mu community eno najja nga ndowooza nti owenzza mu community entegeera gyemmanyi naye nga tasimanyi ti community gyenzizeemu tibalina data gamu zaabwe ze bazannya balina rights zaabwe ze bakola eri abaana oba kitegeera.
Mistu kano kokomyewo twagala twogerezeganye bwe wali ojja mu community ya LGBT yonna gye wagisanga wali osuubirayo ki?
Nze najja nga ndowooza ngenda kusanga abantu bwe tukaanya bwe tweyisa ekimu bwe tukwatagana kubanga obeera ebbali nga weenonya ng'onoonya basiyazi banna abatuufu. Anze olunaku lwe nasooka okugenda ku kibala kya Ram yali 2017 nga tuyingira 2018 olunaku lwe najoyininga community y'abasiyazi naye nga nalwawo nnyo okuzuula community naye ndowooza bannange nfunye famire entuufu era ne mbabeeramu egyo gyonna emyaka nga ngenda mu kibala n'ekikuba neekola ki ne group netandika okujoyininga group sezimu ne bangata muzi group netandika okubeeramu nga mpulira drama nga omanyi
nga wajja atali
nga waawulira bino ebintu tugundi bakubya gundi basimayi bakola simayi bakola stand up simayi ono ekibiina
bya bujingo
bino ebyenga olaba bya bujingo nti omuntu olaba ng'ekibiina kyo kigudde ngalaba takyafuna ssente nga bateesa
nze sawa ya leero saagala kugamba nti nkuwakanya ku buli kyoyogera naye saagala tujjewo fact nti tulina obuzibu ng'abasiyazi ng'omulabe waffe si yeffe.
Naffe ffennyini tuli balabe ba buli muntu.
Naye si ffe mulabe omunene ku basiyazi.
Ati kati nze Victor mazo kati Victor kankubuulire when nali nkyali mu bus straight nga sinaba kujja mu basiyazi saafuna ko insecurity yo number straight ate nga nababeera mu bulungi nnyo naye nga ndi musiyazi ate nga bandi ekisiyaga
nga kyekikuteeka mu community ekikuleetera obuzibu.
Ati ekikuleetera munange ogamba yi munange ndi ne basista bange bajja okuntega kubanga ebizibu byanyumiriza omusiyazi muno togenda binyumiriza straight. Ebirwadde ebikuluma togenda binyumiriza straight ojja binyumiriza musiyazi muno yajja bitegeera. Kati Victor kankubuulire kino toyinza kubeera na straight n'omugamba mbuno munnange nalwadde akasolo kalwadde n'okuwa amagezi era ojja kunyumiriza musiyazi munnange naye munnange walwadde akasolo tugenda mutola ajja kujjanjaba. Kyekyo kitwageza famire zaffe kubanga zino famire omuntu aba amanyi ekikuluma ate nga amanyi neddagala ligenda kivuma ate nga straight takimanyi straight kasolo n'omugaja agamba gundi bamuli ebisiyaga muli alwadde kino na kino.
Kaakati waliwo eyo community bwetutyo tugyetaaga ffenna yonna gye tulaga naye bwe wali muyingira no listen to my question please bwe wali oyingira community gwe wali olowooleza nti bagenda kuyamba ne ssente buli kimu.
Najja mu komite y'abasiyazi sajja kunoonya bugagga ekyo nsiba ncoga ne mbagamba ndi mu kisaga sajja kunoonya bugagga kubanga najja mu komite y'abasiyazi nali nkola nga neekolera nga nsula wange nga ndi malaya yeetuusaako buli kimu nga ate ndi malaya ali empowered nakati era nkyali malaya ali empowered.
Lwaki abantu tobawa ku magezi nti nno okulowooleza mu bibiina si kyekigenda obbawa emirembe mu Uganda?
Ati kati wenjagala okugiramu mwennyini bano abakola bu organization kasi nabo bamanya nti ssente z'omusiyazi zijjira ku maziga. Kino kyogera nkugamba teri ssente ya musiyazi gy'afuna nga tamaze gikolako drama ate n'omuzungu ng'anaakuwa ssente togenda mugaa nti njagala ssente zamubbala agenda kuzikuwa. Abasiyazi bonna mentality management ssente y'omusiyazi ejja nga waguddewo homophobic attack wajja nga waguddewo ride wajja nga waguddewo ebintu amu byapendinga nga abasiyazi ennyo babikozinze kubanga amaika sitaba n'agamba nti gundi baamukubye bamanya eyo ssente agenda kujja kuba buli anaapostinga buli omu agenda
kati ssente eyo bw'ebezze ejjamu ebyo ebibiina oba ejjawo eyo omuntu akoze
lwaki okugamba ssente z'abasiyazi ate oludda kikolimo kyovala lwaki ssente z'abasiyazi ozijjamu ffe era zituyita mu ngalo ne zigwa because tuzifuniramu amakubo mabi. Organization ssente bazifunira amakubo mabi kuteekawo ziride kumala kusaddaaka misayi gy'abaana bamala bateeka amakomera beebake basiire eyo omuntu azze agambye ebintu tubimalira no ku poliisi abaana babate bagende ewaabwe gwe ate najjo okuba human right defender hirafu n'ogamba ffe emisango gyaffe giggwera mu kooti kubanga bamanyi buli mutwe kasi abaana baba okusasulidde bbeero ye ssente eyingirawo ate nga n'ebintu byennyini mubitegese mutegedde ebintu bibadde bipange ne mutuuka ne ku poliisi n'egamba bino babitugambye byadde binakubeerawo ku Sande ne batugamba ku Mande byonna twadde tubimanyi mwe mwennyini mwabeeryamu enkwe wa poliisi watuukira kikugambira nga poliisi kugamba akamwa kwogera nti bannammwe bazze wano yesterday ne batubulira pulaani zonna ffe ffennyini fe abakyasinza okubeera emisota ate buli muntu akola ekiyumba ne kimugwako nga takyafuna funds ng'ateekawo backup n'ekizza eiza ng'afuna nze mbimanyi siri pya kuva Uganda paka Kenya omuntu kasitaba nga takyalina ssente ng'ateekawo ride omuntu bamanyi ekyo kyumba ky'abantu bakisulamu era bulijjo waliwo ebitundu bye tubeeramu nze mbadde ku kitundu ky'Ewamala nga nyambala bubi Victor naye tali muntu yali akubyeko ku kitundu ky'Ewamala gye nabewangaalira ate nga bamanyi nga banjogerako omusiyazi biki naye nabeera nga twali muntu yankubako tube abamu abasiyazi tukulidde ku bitundu nga batumanyi tugundi omusiyazi naye nga tebakubangako because weewe ekitiibwa kyo ekisiyaga kyo kirira mu nnyumba nga weesibiddeyo ne mukulu munno kati weebuuza bali kubadde ku kitundu nga weewadde ekitiibwa n'abantu bawe ekitiibwa ebitongole ebisinga biri ku kitundu nga bikoze friend ne banneighbor nenga tebabikubanga naye because ffe nnyini ekizibu kiri mu ffe nga ffe Victor nze kino kiri mu ffe nga ffe oli najja ku kitundu n'agamba abasiyazi nga kibanoonya bakubeeyo trans oba bakubeeyo omuntu omu kwabamanyi munnange ffe capital obutayagala kukola oba okwagala ssente ez'amangu kyekireeteddeko emiteefu okulaba muno tegwamu drama ng'oweebuuza maama abasiyazi ffe nnyini ffe abatagwamu buli kaseera drama gundi bamukubye gundi simanyi bamwokyeza gundi ebayokyeza ekizimbe ky'eward gundi simanyi bamusse ffe nnyini abasiyazi ffe nnyini ffe abeereetera ebintu ebimu ne tutandika okugamba homophobic tatuganya homophobic gyali n'abantu gye bali abatayagala abasiyazi nabo gye bali naye omuntu oba tomusembedde otegedde gundi tanjagala n'omanya ti gundi tanjagala naye osobola okuba protection oze manya ti gundi tonjagala naye ate naakulumba ddi oba tonnumbye nze kino kikugambya kive kijja mu nze tetuganye human rights nze nkubuulya nze shoni yatugamba bakyalina kesi z'abasiyazi ze baagala okuweza nga bo ze baagala okuweza mu Uganda kyobola lwaki buli kanaku rights teziggwaawo
nga bani abaagala oziweza
nze nkubuulira kino walenga siweeriza
abasiyazi
inga bo bennyini be bamanya ba human rights defender kubanga yakyo tugamba mu nyini human rights defender oba wa DTP oba bagiyita batya ekibiina kya Mubutu kyakibira kya yajja n'atutuuza nga batukutte ku byalo era Mubutu kibiina kirwanirira human rights Ubutu mubutu za simanyi manyini yakijja mu kamanga atutuuzizza lano wano ati obanga waliwo bannange baatukwata bajjukira bulungi nga shoni atugamba bakyalina fayiro ze baagala okuweza ez'abasiyazi kwegamba kyobola lwaki buli kanaku zennakula nali mu ssomero nga mpulira buli kanaku boogera simanyi anti homosexual bill nakati era bajoogerako maama yo buli kanaku gye batwala mu kooti ne bagijja ne bagizaayo nga nkyasoma nga mpulira boogera kwebe naguna gujja bakyali kwega bakyaweza fayiro gye baagala
ekya anti-homosexuality bill muganda wange kibeera mu parliament teri basiyazi bamaddwa
Victor kati kankubuli omanyi bunne ebintu ebyo baatukwata wali organisation eyavaayo negamba bakuta abantu bano kabali 44 kale baba bakuta 44 bonna tugenda bakwata tubajjayo maama nga sijja kuwaayira nga sijja kwogera maaza misitu ne banancawa tebancawa simaaga nevayo negamba abaana bonna tugenda bayamba ne hirafu negamba abaana bonna tugenda ba relocation buli muntu ali bulungi tewali mwana asaana kuva Uganda nabo bala bakasaba yola musiyazi nava Uganda bafiirwa tebaba tebakyalina mirimu
naye kati gwe musiyazi okuva Uganda simaaga ekugaana ekyo okuva
tetwagala kuva Uganda kwana twagala okubeera mu nsi zaffe naye ate ne bano abantu bennyini abavaayo simaaga ekibiina ekyo ekinene nakyo ne kivaayo ne kyegatta n'egundi ne hirafu ngayo tetumanyi tuno simanyi gundi erwanirira ddembe ly'abasiyazi namwe ne muva ne mukotoddera omusiyazi olusoba muwadde opportunity naye nova n'ogamba nedda abaana bali bulungi twabadde location abaana bali bulungi buli omu ali bulungi naye nga mwana wani ali obulungi nze misitu sijja kwagako because nali neeriisa nali nesasulira ewange nga buli kimu nkyetuusaako naye obwana ne babukwata banyabo ne bajja ne babuvuma temuddafanisirani mmwe tuba imagine omuzadde n'avuma omwana kyokka naye manyini amutadde mu trauma tomuyambye tomuwadde buyambi olwo gwe kyagala kufuna ssente genda gula mmotoka genda gula kizimbe But you people should think of these people. These are children. Also, we are born like you. Before you do something to ask these people, think of their life. These are innocent child. Bwana bwali butoba bukwatidde ku mikolo tobula kye bumanyi. Neera n'obufiiriza church, tobuwadde opportunity, tobuwadde bright future. Ffe tuli bikazi bikulu tukaddiye tetukyalina kitufiirwa. Nakuba kyenfiirwa. Kubanga bantu
ate kasabajjawo abaana kikomi tagenda kufunamu okitegeera kati walinga tasobola kujjawo luzzi lwakima mazzi okitegeera ababaawo ne batambula bagende bulaya nekolako nga bo benonyeza bo nga bo buseere bwabwe ne beeyiya bo nga bo naye teri kitongole kigenda kusevinga life ya mwana Uganda nti oyise mu bintu bingi nnyo kati kujja otukutwalewa
kati kambuuze senga ebitongole bye mugamba ebibba ssente byongera okuzibba abalala abaana babonaabona muba bamagezi
amagezi gempa buli musiyazi ali omusiyazi ng'oli mu kwezuula kera kumakya ositandika niyo fit kola bibyo kera kumakyanga gwe manyini weenoonya kubanga bano bennyini betulowooza mbuno batuyamba n'abalina ebyo bye bayisaawo nze n'eddoboozi eryange and raising and I advise all queer people outside there you stand on your feet work for yourself make sure that you maintain your life on your own tali muntu agenda kuwa bulamu bulungi ebyo mulowooza mbuno ekiseera kirimu ssente tamuli ssente zino sente z'ekiseera stand on your feet. Not kwebereramu kwako kwambugana naye nga wagambe webereramu. That's what we always say. Kwebereramu kola kyo.
Nereeta bwerezi.
They are using us to make money from us.
Babye kyembuuziza nti Museveni ali mu kulya ssente z'Abannayuganda balekerawo okufumba emmere olw'okuba Museveni abba ssente zaabo. Anita, oli muted.
kino bayinza okuba nga abakulembeze b'ebibiina balya ssente z'abaana naye kijja kujjako babeerewo bakole emirimu gyabwe bw'oba basobola omujja mu kkomera ng'akwatiddwa just good
katugambe bwe tukola campaign nti ssente tezidda mugenda Uganda omusiyazi alina kukola ki kati
sisiagana Uganda
kuba waliwo ekiseera waliwo time we bagirawo ssente Uganda nga terifanda awa ssente kibiina kyonna e Uganda era kisobola okudda omusiyazi alina kukola ki
kati kankubuuze Victor alina kukola kubanga n'essaawa zino bagamba bazigyeewo bameka abaana ababenefitinga ku ssente z'ebitongo z'abazungu ez'obudde Bulaaya
abaana abali e Nairobi n'ekakuma bonna bibiina bye byabafulumya
Victor abaana abali e Nairobi nze si bonna tebyabafulumya naye waliwo oli nga bamukozeeko nnyo emisango gimuyitiriddeko bamugamba agende e Nairobi okitegeera kati nze omu ku bo nze kubanga nagenda kuyira fene mpaa misango nekola ki
abasiyazi nga 1,500 abayise Kenya bwe tuwulira nti mulinga 1,500 abayise Kenya kati gwomu ekibiina kyakufulumya abasiyazi abali e Kenya ne Nairobi ne gundi bibiina bye byabajjayo
abaana abasinga beereeta bokka
tekwali kwebereramu
abamu beebereramu naye okwebeeramu kintu kikulu ate n'okumanya security yo weetandikira ne weekoma ate n'okumanya nti buno obulamu bwerimu bwange okitegeera n'okumanya nti tisala kunkozesa mu kino kitegeera nze kubanga naye Nairobi
simanyi kigenda mu maaso it tells me connection has failed
essimu zaabwe ziri homophobia kirabika
there was a transphobic leero
kati
kubanga nze okubeera awo nga twogera ku butujju obuguliddwawo ku basiyazi ate nga butuufu Uganda bakola obutujju ku basiyazi olwokuba bakyawa abasiyazi mwe ne mukulembeza nti obutujju obuliyo kwegamba ensonga enkulu twogere ku bibiina ebifuna ssente nti simanya byebikola n'obubadi nze mba ndaba tuvudde ku mulamwa
okugamba nti bwe bukola obubadi Victor waliyo ebitongole bimwe ebikola obubadi kino kikwate bulungi tetugambe nti bitongole byonna byonna bikola bubadi no waliwo ebyo ebimu byo nga bikola bubadi okubeerawo ate bwe bikola obubadi obwo ne bifuna ssente n'ebirawe bijjira ne bijja okuyambako nabyo ne bizifuna ate biziva ne bitazikozesa kyezirina kukola
kankubuuza kankuzeeyani AGOA American government okugoba Uganda mu by'amagezi AGOA mu by'obusuubuzi ebyokusuubula ne America tax free duty free olowooza nti kyazze olw'okuba waliyo ebibiina by'abasiyazi e Uganda ebirya ssente oba olw'okuba mu Uganda omusiyazi talina ddembe lya buntu
kyazze nti omusiyazi mu Uganda talina ddembe lye tasobola kweyogerera tasobola kukola kyayagala tasobola kubanga muntu wa bulijjo atali musiyazi
ensonga eyo gye yatandise programu eno
ate nze ekyokugoba Uganda mu eryo mwaka katale kunze bagigobe lwa nsonga oba bbiri naffe abasiyazi tuli bantu twatondebwa mu Uganda era tuli the party of Ugandans kati bwe babanga batyobola eddembe lyaffe naffe tulina ezo ssente badde bajja mu AGOA naffe zali zituwa obuyambi ngaffe naffe tuzifunako naffe zitugasa kati baba bagamba nti nga banyigiriza eddembe lyaffe ngaffe lwaki ate bo baseka bafuna ezo ssente ezirina okuyamba abasiyazi n'abantu abalala ekitegeera bwe twebera kunyigirizibwa tunyigirizibwe ffenna omulundi gumu then yonna n'alaba naffe tuli bantu banajjawo amateeka ge bateekawo naffe tweyagalya mu nsi yaffe okitegeera naye buli tunaabeera ku kino tugamba nti bannange aba tuggyeko ssente ate twegayirire ate tukole no teri kwegayirira baziggirewo ddala
naye nga era twakitegedde nti Uganda egirwako ssente abantu abamu abatono abalina omululu era abakozesa omusiyazi okuyisaawo ebyabwe ekibiina kya AGOA kino ekintu ekyo kyoli mu kusanyukira ebibiina bye Uganda bingi ebyabasiyazi ebirwanya entalo zino kati ensi gyerowooleza nti ekibiina kye Uganda okubeerayo nti kyabasiyazi omulimu gwakyo kufuna ssente kuleeta mmere mu njuuyo omulimu gwakyo kufuna ssente kukutwala ku nnyonyi ofulume ebweru waliyo ebibiina e Uganda ng'omulimu gwabyo kulobinga oyo advocacy okulaba nti nno bateekawo embeera ekyusa mu mateeka ne mu policies oba ze bayita batya policies nga gwe mulimu gwabyo waliwo walaba ssente nga ziyingidde tobola nakulese n'oyogera waliwo omusiyazi bwalaba ssente nga ziyingidde mu kibiina katugambe $1,000 ogwa $1 omusiyazi owa bulijjo era kino kyekizibu kyendaba ku bibiina byaffe nze ebibiina byaffe tebirina kye bayita transparency obwerufu okubuulira abantu nti nno kino kyetukolako era kyetufunira ssente kubanga omusiyazi owa bulijjo bw'alaba ngu ekibiina kifunye $1,000 ogwa $1 kirina emirimu egy'okukola oluusi omulimu gw'okufulumya abantu e Uganda tegubeerako oluusi omulimu gwa kugenda mu kkooti kuwoza misango oluusi omulimu gwa kugenda mu mwaka nga balina meeting nga 15 ne minisita owa health oluusi omulimu gwa kugenda ku World Health Organization mu nteeseganya n'okuloopa nti e Uganda tulinayo Stephen Anita tulinayo ne bano ne bwe bati abakoleddwa ebintu bwe biti nga tekuliiko ssente n'enjo yakuwa baana kufuluma oba kuteeka mmere ku ssowaani y'omuntu era Anita nyongera okikugamba nti siganye nti waliyo abakozesezza obubi ssente naye tetuyina kuggyawo ekitukoleddwa ng'abantu ne tugaana n'okukyogerako n'okukibuulira ensi nti omusiyazi e Uganda kati ali mu kutemulwa olw'okuba waliyo abasiyazi lumu abaapanga ekintu ne kiyitawo
nedda Victor nze mwankotinze bubi nze ebyo nabibako ebyo Uganda sibinako buzibu ekinyinako obuzibu kiri kimu kigwe kiti nti tulina organization nnyingi e Uganda okitegeera naye abaana bafuna obuzibu
Banange hafi.
Tebayambibwa tebalina kuyambibwamu. Ekyo ntegeera nti bwe babanga nga waliwo ekintu ekisobola okukola enteekateeka nga kyo kyakulobinga kola activism omwana afunye obuzibu obutasobeza kubeera mu Uganda bamuyambe okuva mu Uganda. Okitegeera
Olinayo ebibiina by'omanyi ebirina omulimu ogwo.
Anti egambye nti singa waliwo ekibiina ekyokustandinga ku eyo ensonga. Okitegeera kubanga ne banaabajja mu makomera ne banaabawa emmere ne banaabasola ente emyezi 6 kijja kusigala kyapeninga kubanga Uganda gakkiriza bisiyaga. Okitegeera walina okubayo ekitongole kyo kitandinge ku eyo ensonga era kisabe olukusa mu nsi z'e Bulaaya okufa ku baana abafunye obuzibu obw'enkukunala obutasobozesa kubabeeza mu Uganda. Okitegeera kubanga niwo abaana abali Uganda ng'atambula kiro kyokka tasobola atambula misana. Waliwo abaana nga famire z'abagoba nadda nagosola ku street nomulanga alinga ali akasasiro naye nga sente ayagala okulya akasasiro just famire
Anita,
yamudinayinga.
omanyi ebintu bingi ebigenda mu maaso mu nsi yaffe ate era bingi ebigenda mu maaso mu LGBTQ community. Okitegeera naye abasiyazi bo balowooza nti community yaffe erina kubeera ggulu, nti abantu balese okufa ku bulamu bwabwe olw'okuba balinda ekibiina kibafeeko.
Yes. Nze kati nze nasulako mu mwala gw'ekatwe oba ogumanyi eryo ettaawo ly'ekatwe eryo erisalamu eno poliisi eno Kibuye nalisulamukko.
Era abantu bayise mu bintu bingi n'okusinga ne ebyo naye nga n'ebifaanagana bwe bityo.
Naye kyekyanzija nagamba sikyasobola kusavayivinga nga temutasobola kumumanya teragenda kumbeererawo nina kwebeererawo.
Olina kwebeererawo. Ebibiina
netunda akasimu kange nali ndina akatono
naye ebibiina byaliyo e Uganda
nga byaliyo
akati oba kusigalawo mbuga olinda bibiina mbu babiwadde ssente z'otamanyi.
Fenna
twagala ssente era n'ebibiina ebyo biba bina ssente ze bigaba ffenna batuweeko naye batuwaako kitegeeza
era tibigenda kubeera nga bimanyi nti Anita ayita mu buzibu bwe buti newo n'abibagamba nti mpita mu nti balina protocol ze bayitamu okuwa ssente. Okitegeera naye ekifo kyalibadde kya ssente kyalibadde nti tusevingiddwa tutya okubamu eyo embeera.
Nkubuuzayo ekibuuzo kimu. Oli Toronto right? Waliyo ebibiina by'abasiyazi byonna byakuyambye. Lwaki? Kuba babiwa ssente ebibiina by'abasiyazi e Toronto.
Ate buli kibiina kirina pulogulaamu zaakyo.
Buli kibiina kirina pulogulaamu zaakyo kiina kye kikola. Si buli kibiina ekiri awo nti kirina ssente ze kigenda okugabira abasiyazi. Kakibe kibiina eky'abavandimo okiraba e Uganda balina ssente naye gwe olowooza nti buli nnyumba ya muvandimwe bagenda bateekamu ssente. Ebibiina by'abakyala e Uganda obibala naye birina emirimu gyabyo gye birina okukola era nnyongereza okugamba nti siganye waliwo ebibba ssente. Naye ensonga lwaki buli kibiina ky'abasiyazi e Toronto tekikuyambye oba tekiyamba abasiyazi abajja e Toronto y'ensonga yaemu lwaki mpulidde mwinayo n'ekibiina kye bayita Mobutu Seseko e Uganda. Kakati lwaki ebyo ebibiina bye muwulira e Uganda byonna omulimu gwabyo si kufulumya bantu, si kuwa bantu mmere, si kuwa bantu wakusula. Kakati Simaaga erina shewuta weesuza abaana ku Simaaga.
Simaaga yina ennyumba ennene nali njusizemukko naye tebagiteekawo nti yabasiriazi kujja kusulawo in case omwana ng'ofunye obuzibu basobola okukostingako ebbanga ettono.
Njagala kutuwaayo eddakiika 5 okubanga waliwo ekiteeso nti ntandike live empya nandikitandikidde ku guli omukutu buli omu ng'asobola okujja n'abantu 10 ne boogera naye mu ddakiika zino 5 ezisigaddeyo mpulidde bingi ebibiina bye bikoze e Uganda. Mbadde nkusaba ompeeyoko ku bintu ebirungi bwe bibanga gye biri ebibiina bya Uganda bye bikoze.
Nze ebibiina bya Uganda sijagamba nti tibiina birungi bibiina ebirungi kubanga ebibiina bya Uganda nze kubanga njoga bwe nali ndi Uganda nasulako bajja gye muyita icebreaker IBU bajja muyita icebreaker nasulako icebreaker okumala weeks ezawera bosobola okuyamba with the time ng'onoonya okola ki wogenda. Icebreaker yalina eddwaliro nga ekebera omusaayi ebintu ebyo esomesa securities omuntu weekuumya otya community olina kweyisa otya ebintu ebyo nga ebitongole ebimu nga mirimu gyabyo gye bikola nga bikola n'amalwaliro amanene mu Uganda ne bakuŋŋaana mu trading center n'abajjako omusaayi ne bababuulira bakusanga olinaakooka ne bakubuulira bakugamba atandika eddagala bwe bityo kitegeera. Nze n'abaseezamu gye nabasanje nabamanyi nasinga obamanyira ebimu ebitongole bitera ogaba emmere Christmas nga ne bigabayo emmere ne biwaya buli Uganda buli bibiina bitongole biba ne bamembazi baabyo Oshegera. Bwe bityo naye abamu bafuna ssente ezo nga bazifuna
Soko ine
tugenda
katono
kusomesa
banange nina Paul Gentandisaawo bwe mba musobola mugiddemu mu voting and then tujja kukola kye munaaba musazeewo.
bakola ebirungi Victor bakola balina facilities ennungi ku basiyazi naye mu committee mubulamu musiiwuufu oshegera nze kubanga nzijukira bwe nasooka nafuna obuzibu wasooka nendipotinga saafuna buyambi gwaddako nengenda kuyira ffe ndipotinga ira ffe nengawo yakola ku nsonga zange naye sigamba nti tekola ekola kubanga that time bwenagenda ebagamba tulina sente za kuyamba kufuna relocation kugenda shabanga yo ira etera kukola ku misango na location era bwe naddamu nenfuna obuzibu bwe bumu
mwanyige ku Paul eyo bannange mumbulire oba tuddamu live eno oba nedda nsobola okugiteeka ku StreamYard mwenna ne musobola okubanga mutuukako
bwe nakola ki bwe naddayo gwokubiri omuntu omu yali akola ku musango agenda ngamba Steven togenda kusobola kubeera mu Uganda ubikiro oshegeera tolina okukola saa magezi wonna obe ng'ogenda wa e Kenya oshegeera naye ekizibu kye tulina mu community nti omuntu bw'ofuna obuzibu tovaayo kwogera kwekikwatako ate bwe tumana tubasalira omusango nga ffe abantu nyinza buka sirina ssente ze ngenda kukuwa nene nkuwa amagezi
kubanga oluusi gwe omulimu gw'ekibiina ekyo nti tebalina ssente naye balina amagezi ago ne connection
nze ebitongole ebimu ebikola obuvuyo sijja biita njakiyita nti amu abakajja mu system nga banoonya content banoonya bafanda babamanye
wandibaayo n'abakadde naye kiba kirungi nga tuli wano twogera ku nsonga erya abantu ne batuuka n'okufa oba okugenda mu mawanga ne tukidawuni playinga ne tugamba abasiyazi be beeteerawo obubadi
ate nze kituuse ne ku Victor kati nti bw'oyogera nti oli musiyazi Uganda kikinga ekyakola na makulu sometimes kubanga omusiyazi owa ddala takyava Uganda kujja singa
kati sooka olindeko eno Paul gye nkoze bannange eraga nti nno abasinga bagamba nti live tugiddemu ku mukutu kwe tusobola okwogerera abangi era kafunye naawe Miss2 eyo nayo yayingiddewo kati Paul eggaddewo bambi abasigadde ndowooza abakikoze babakiikiridde ndowooza tukkiriziganyiza kantandike live ku mukutu mwe namba leeta twogerere wamu nawe Brenda nkulengedde Brenda era abatetegeera kantu kano ngenda kuteeka link mu comment section bwe mulaba link eyo muginyigeeko yebaleeta mu studio
mukali kalyanga akaluli
bwe mulaba link eyo muginyigeeko mwenna mujja kujja mu studio twogerere wamu
paka kumakya
balamusiza bannange happy new year